Hi everyone, I'm Brianna and welcome to Roll Initiative. Today we're going to be looking at 8 tips for exploration in D&D. So, let's get started. So, the first tip is to make sure when you're describing terrain or surroundings to your players that you try and hit on as many senses as possible. That way, it'll give more of a feeling or a vibe to the area instead of just what it looks like. It will actually have a feel to it and it'll feel much more real. As a general thing, I don't track time very closely in my games. I pretty much divide it into early morning, mid morning, late morning, and then the same for the afternoon. And generally, this time frame works really well. But I think during travel, you might want to be a little more specific. Like, how many hours is travel going to take? What section of the day is that going to put you in? And is it going to go into night? Because if the party isn't going to make it to their destination before nightfall, then they pretty much have to pick where they're going to make camp. They might be looking for a good spot as they travel. So I think it's actually quite important to track time to some extent while traveling. The weather is a really awesome tool that DMs have to be able to change the mood in their campaign. If your party is in the middle of traveling somewhere and it starts raining, then it's going to set a different mood than if it was sunny. And if it starts storming, then they might even need to take shelter. It's a really awesome way to make your world feel alive, changing, and unpredictable. Adding details and small things of interest as your players travel can make the world feel much larger, even if it's just something like an old camp they found, or maybe some tracks or markings on a tree, because it means that someone or something has been here. And if you add more to it, then it can become really awesome side adventures or side quests and can add a lot of depth to the story, or it can be used as foreshadowing for what's ahead. Either way, this can work really well for adding depth and flavor to your campaign, and either adding hooks for side quests or foreshadowing what's to come. A really big thing with all of this is that travel is new, exciting, and different, but it's not going to stay that way if you do it too often, no matter how much interest you add to it. So it's good to focus on the highlights, skip through travel a little bit, and focus on the main things that happen. You have a couple of events that happen while they're traveling, then they get to their destination. You can skim by the rest of it with brief descriptions or just a mention of how much time has passed. Having a map of the area so that your players can all look at it to see where they're going and to pick the route they want to take to get there can make it a whole lot more fun and interesting, as they get to see the different paths that they can take and actually plan out a bit of a route with some knowledge of what's actually going to be along the way. One of the best ways to make travel interesting without having to prep anything for the story is actually to just encourage your players to role play among themselves. Ask them what they're doing while they're traveling. What order are they walking in? Are they walking next to someone? Are they talking? What about? Just asking some questions like this can get your players thinking and started on some roleplay that can turn out to be really fun and interesting and can be an awesome way to add a highlight to travel. Now, I am not a fan of random encounter tables, and I also think that encounters during travel can be a whole lot more than combat, such as environmental challenges like crossing a river or some sort of difficult terrain. But I think that no matter what you do while you're traveling, that it should matter. not some sort of completely random time filler that has nothing to do with the party or the story. I think that it should be related to the story and have something to do with your main goal, or at least side goals of yours, or that it should be a choice whether your party does it or not. Because if something drives the story, then it should be presented as an obstacle they need to overcome. If it's going to be sort of random and out of nowhere, then it should be an option. Like, instead of forcing a random bandit attack on your party, then you can have your party notice that there have been bandits around and see some people in trouble being attacked by bandits. They have a choice to go and help these people and fight off the bandits, or they can continue on their quest. That way, they're not being thrown into a random encounter for time fillers. They can choose to go and do this, or they can continue on their way. The choice is up to your party, and that makes it feel much, much less random, even though it doesn't have anything to do with the story. Because if your players choose to do it, then it becomes part of the story. But there we go, that's the end of this video, and I really hope it was helpful, and if it was, then I'd be really grateful if you'd consider giving it a like, or maybe even subscribing to my channel. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.